Hi, how's it going? I'm Marlene. Thanks for wandering by. I thought I would pop on today. I think this one might be fast. I'm not sure. I tend to, talk a lot sometimes, but whatever. I'm here wanting to talk to you guys because I've been feeling particularly reflective lately. And I've been looking back specifically for last year. I've been looking specifically at last year, from my growth from last year to this year. And I realized, or I remembered, that I've mentioned many times already on my channel that I am newer to tarot, and I've been working on this, or learning and reading and kind of involved with and like passionate about the tarot now for over a year. And I started back in May of last year, but it really wasn't until November of last year that I got involved in journaling, like really dedicated journaling with the tarot. So I'm not going to get into like my journal itself, but what I wanted to do today, and you'll see from the title of this video, like in Facebook or even your own like iPhone camera or different things, there's like a nostalgia piece for social media, in which it like purposefully brings up pictures from last year or years past on this particular day to, like your feed will pop up with like last year on this day, or things like that. Your camera, your iPhone pictures does that as well. And there's a bunch of other apps I think that do that. There was one that was called Time Hop. Anyway, so like the idea of like looking back and being reflective about like on the specific day that this specific thing happened, or even not necessarily a specific thing that happened, but returning to that same day last year is a cool concept to me. And because last year, November, was when I really got into a dedicated journal practice. I have this journal filled with the month of November. And what I wanted to do today was kind of take you on the journey with me to revisit my tarot reading from the last year on this day. And then also I wanted to pull cards today and kind of put them together and see the growth or the difference or whatever from last year's cards on this day to this year. So yeah, so that's what we're here to do today, and we're gonna use I'm not gonna put you into my journal, but we're gonna revisit the Ink Witch Tarot, which is what I used last year on this very day. Okay, so yeah, I pulled the 3 cards that I drew last year on this very day, and I want to share with you just like bits and pieces from my journal and these cards, and I'll put up the spread positions for you, but they're pretty straightforward and pretty easy. So again, this is the Ink Witch Tarot. I always will put links in the description box below for you on where you can find any of the decks that I feature. So, okay, so last year on this day, I was doing, I like to take part in tarot challenges. It's something I've been doing since obviously last year. And this was from the Lion's Heart Solitary Tarot Challenge. I believe it was Lion's Heart. I'll find out and I'll put it in the description box below to make sure that I give credit to whoever the challenge came from. And the first chapter of the Solitary Tarot Challenge was, chapter 1 was to contemplate. And this, the prompt for the day was on this very day, these are 3 things that I know to be true. And so the first one was I feel. So this is all from last year. I feel. And then I literally just in my journal, I wrote about, I just came up with my own keyword on how I feel. So I feel overwhelmed. And apparently at this time last year, I wrote about how, I believe this is Fenrir, from a Nordic myth, a Norse myth. Anyway, I was relating to, I felt overwhelmed and I felt very connected to the beast in this image where I felt like I was being attacked and I was under fire and I was really, really stressed and I felt like, I wrote about feeling like I couldn't be contained. So not just that I was under attack, but that I was like, I couldn't be contained. And that, so that's what was going on with me last year. So I feel 5 of Swords. And then I am, and it was the 9 of Swords. So definitely had a lot going on in my mental space at this time last year. And I wrote for what I am. I am searching for peace. Definitely, yeah. So I was, just feeling kind of filled with fear and anxiety. And it just sort of felt like all of these painful, fear-producing, anxiety-producing ideas were just like hanging above me, with these pieces of string, and that they could just, stab me at any moment. And that's what I wrote about in my journal, that like I was, I wanted November. I didn't want this to bode for the rest of November last year, to be feeling overwhelmed and unable to be contained and with fear and anxiety. And then finally, the last one is I want. So I feel, I am, I want. So I want, and I got, this is last year's reading, I got the 4 of Pentacles. And it's this cool dragon, with his hoard of treasures and things. And it was it's funny because I wrote in my journal about how this image is a departure from these other 2 kind of really, it's kind of scary, where this is a little bit more cheeky in the way that it is drawn. And I don't always read, maybe I did then and I don't now, read the 4 of Pentacles about money specifically and like hoarding money. What I wrote in my journal was that I wanted to like change things in my life. There were specific things that I wanted to change about my day-to-day life and activities. And I needed to, what I wanted to was to be able to gather my resources, and not just money, but I did talk about that in my journal, but just to gather my resources and my abilities and my, things, so that I could get out of this kind of mental space that I was in and make some significant changes in my life. So yeah, so that's where I was last year on this very day. And these were the 3 things that I knew to be true. So now today, what I wanted to do, and I love this exercise, I'm excited about doing this exercise. I haven't done it yet. I'm halfway there. And I encourage you to, if you have tarot journals, this is a great use for them, because you maybe write and write and write all the time and then never revisit it. If you're not revisiting your journals, then you're really missing out on a valuable part of them. And so this exercise is cool because it gets me back into my journal in a very real way, and into and reflecting upon my life and my readings in a very real way too. So I want to now revisit, and I don't know if I'm gonna leave all the shuffling that I do on camera, but I'm using the Star Seeker Tarot. And this is and both of these are in indie decks, so I will definitely leave links for them below. And I just thought this would be a really clear, this is a really pretty, very dreamy, for me, it's very RWS inspired. It's a very clear reader. It's not the best shuffler because it is this rose petal kind of finish. But it's a really pretty deck, and it's very, for me, it has been really straightforward. So we'll see. So I want to know now, like, if things are the same or different. Like I already know, like, I mean, obviously I know how my life in very specific ways has not, sorry for the trucks driving by and all that noise, how my life hasn't really changed, or how things, have changed. And I want to see, I want to see where we're at right now. I feel, I am, and I want. These three things I know to be true. And then we'll see how deep I get with like explaining stuff to you. I don't want to get like too super personal, but sorry again about the truck sounds. All right, so let's see. Star Seeker Tarot. These, on this very day, these are three things that I know to be true. I feel, I am, I want. Okay, I feel. The star. It's a beautiful card. Yeah, this feels very, very spot on and true right now. In terms of the difference between myself, like how I was feeling on this very day last year to how I'm feeling on this very day today, this year, I have worked really hard, and I've worked on my ability to understand myself and have hope for the future, hope for where I'm headed, and a clearer understanding of what I can bring, what I bring to the table. I'm much more serene in certain places in my life, and I'm feeling that today for sure. Okay, I feel, I am. Temperance. Wow, my goodness, that's so interesting. Two things coming to mind immediately. The flow and balance, temperance and the star have very similar kind of vibes to me. But also this year is my temperance year. So when you do that whole numerological thing and you find out what is your card of the year, your personal card of the year based on your birth date, temperance is mine. And it's so funny because we're coming to the end of this year, and I have been working towards understanding temperance, understanding what it means to integrate. I really do love that we're pouring the pouring here outwards and the pouring the mixing here. Wow, so that's crazy because that's 2 swords and 2 majors for I feel and I am. So yeah, I am. That really makes me feel good that I am temperance right now. I am really integrating pieces of myself. And whereas last year I was really kind of like, I was really kind of not sure about myself and where I was and what I was doing and if I was on the right path and what the heck kind of path to even get on. This year, it seems like this is just like affirming that I'm doing the right things, that I'm like working, yeah, like that things are working for me, that things are coming together. Okay. I said I wasn't gonna get super personal, but I just, and then finally, I want. So I feel, I am, and now I want. Wow. Okay, so all 3 majors, this is kind of, wow, this is kind of a lot. This Judgment card is, it's a depiction of the phoenix rising from the ashes. Just side note, really stupid, silly, funny side note is that last night my partner and daughter and I watched X-Men 2, like the old X-Men 2, and it was Jean Grey had not yet become the Phoenix. She was like she's going to become the Phoenix in the next movie. Anyway, I'm such a dork, you guys, sorry. But that's immediately what it made me think of, just like, because I can't separate pop culture references from my story in the way that I look at everything. So some of you I know will appreciate that. So, I want, yeah, I do. I want to, and I feel like I have, like, this is really kind of amazing for me, like, in terms of like reflecting from what, happened last year to now, that I have come from this space of like pulling together my resources so that I can kind of rise up from the ashes, from what was and what I can be. And this, like, I really like this depiction because it's this like leveling up, this like answering the call, which is very, very traditional, typical way to read the Judgment card, is that it is a calling to something else. And I've really felt a calling to some very specific things with the tarot, with my creativity, with my writing, with who I am and who I want to be and how I want to present myself in, in this space, but in, in the world in general. And I've really been working towards that, like presenting my most authentic self. And yeah, and it's happening. And I still want that. I want that, answering that call. This is really, this is so interesting to me. I also love to take a look at like the way that the artwork speaks with one another, and the beast, Fenrir, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, looking up, and the water bearer here in the star card, serenely looking down. And then we have the swords pointing directly down into the angel, and this angel is mixing. It feels like these are. It just feels like this image is like moving together, right? And this one is like looking, looking up, looking down, you know, fear and versus peace. And this is like, you know, there's no more fear here. Like, even though these swords are dangling above, this integration is still like happening. And then with this like cheeky little smirky dragon, it's like they have a secret that they knew, and it's almost as if like this this figure, this phoenix rising, is, you know, lighting. This is going a light underneath this dragon that like knew the secret all along. It's like this dragon knew all along that this time of year, that this time the next year, that there would be, that the call would be answered, that this would have, you know, all of this that we were saving up, that we were, you know, pooling together, would come to fruition, that it would rise up, that the flames would go. That's what it feels like to me. This is really cool. So I did one more thing, and I tend to do this. I don't know how long this is now, and I told you that I was going to try to be brief, but I also grabbed an Oracle deck, because I do like to use Oracle as a punctuation for readings on occasion. You know, if you've seen some of my videos, I can link them in the cards as well, on like how I use Oracle, and the Oracle test is something I did recently. Oracle decks are like an ongoing process for me, but one of the ways in which I like to use Oracle is as a punctuation for the end of a reading. So like sometimes I use it as a bridge, but I already feel like I see the bridge between last year and this year. Like the connection between these two readings is really clear to me. But what I feel like what I want from this Oracle deck, the Sacred Destiny Oracle by Denise Linn, what I want from this Oracle deck is kind of like a punctuation, like something to kind of wrap it up, and maybe even make me think about, you know, from here forward, like from now till next year, my feelings and who I am and what I want, like what sort of takeaway can I have from this in moving forward now to the future? So my past, you know, my present, and now, you know, moving forward into my future, what is something that I can consider about all of this, you know, going forward. And I'm just shuffling here, and I'm gonna pull that out and put it on top of this reading so that you all can join me in this little journey here. Okay, one more riffle shuffle. And deep breath. Yeah, it seems to be getting louder. Wonders. Wow. That's beautiful. That's really, really beautiful. I think what it says to me, and here's this image of this crystal, like in the cosmos, it's like this giant amethyst, or I don't know, purple crystal that's sort of piercing through some sort of nebula. So it feels like this is really moving into some sort of like outside of myself, like very grand place, and it's wonders. And so it really feels like I'm on like an upward trajectory where I have been able to move from a space of like anxiety over what like my purpose is, like what I should be doing, what I should be working towards. And I've really in the last year made some progress in terms of like finding some serenity and hope for my endeavors, and integrating different aspects of myself so that I can do that, and answering this call to really like, yeah, to to be creative, to kind of, embrace my poet self, embrace like my tarot reading self, and embrace like spiritually what I've discovered now. And will wonders never cease? Will wonders never cease on where I'm headed? And that feels like really beautiful and on point. It feels as though I can really see my past and my present, and where things are heading for me by having done this particular exercise. So once again, thank you so much for joining me on this journey, this little exercise that I did of a trip, back into the past, and using my tarot journal as a wonderful guide for me to, again, I so apologize about the noise. They're like leaf blowing right now at this very moment, of course. But I thank you again for joining me. Using, taking a look back last year on this day, and this day this year, and then pulling in, grabbing an oracle deck as well to kind of tie everything together for, and look towards the future. So again, the Inkwitch Tarot, the Star Seeker Tarot, the Sacred Destiny Oracle. I will leave links to everything below for you. And yeah, I really encourage you to, if you can, revisit your tarot reading from a year ago on this very day, and see where things have changed and grown and moved for you. So thanks again. I hope that you all have a beautiful, wonderful day.